Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, I want to cover another one of those, I don't know if they're popular or not, but certainly being pushed out there as another one of these remote viewing people who are teaching classes, otherwise known as Lori Williams. Now, Lori Williams has an interesting background. She's been highlighted on the Jeffrey No Proof Allowed Mishlove and a show on several occasions. And of course, this all fits in because I think she also lives, I guess, in New Mexico near where he's based, so she can show up there easier. But she's connected with all the other people that and it's a long stream of nepotism with Mishlove's guests as well. These are all people he seems to know. They're all people that are over 60 in general. So he's one of the few that's not. Ooh. So the whole idea is that this is very typical of the slant of his type of guests he has in general. And of course, it's nice to see these kind of people on there in general because it's rare that they get a forum. But, this is the old talking head show from 50 years ago that he started, and there's not much difference about it. But one of the problems here is we get into, and as people should know by now, I kind of have a pet peeve with remote viewers of the military persuasion and their consorts, their buddies, pals. Now, one of the big problems with Lori Williams is she is another connected directly to Lynn Buchanan, one of the famous government whores involved in the original remote viewing program, who basically was mostly a statistician, from what I understand. I'm not sure how much remote viewing he did. Similar to Ed Dames, who now go out and teach people, just like Lynn Buchanan does, stating they were great remote viewers. Even that doesn't seem to overly check out. But I don't know if that's important one way or another. It's, can't you teach anything? That's what they do with teachers. You could be an English teacher and say, well, we need somebody to teach a class on medieval studies. You're not going to have that many English classes. So here, Bob, now you're the medieval. Okay, I go read a book on it. I'll get from the Teachers Union, the book on medieval studies. Well, that's what they do. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but you don't necessarily have to be your area of study. Most teachers are teaching in 2-3 different areas, not their own, quote, expertise. So Lynn Buchanan is one of the original goofballers in the military remote viewing program, which basically produced very little. And of course, they like to say they're great successes. So out of 1,000 readings, one of them was pretty good, if we can believe that. Certainly, the number one remote viewer, Joseph Monteil, certainly was not. Anytime I've ever seen him do anything live, he's really messed it up horribly. And people should check out the Psychic versus the Remote Viewer video I have, and make sure you watch the video where they show him performing and how horrific he does. So, we need to fully understand that. If we're going to get to truth, we need to push to the side a lot of BS because they stop us from moving ahead. That's the point of all this. So, she has a very interesting background. Apparently she was some sort of missionary for a long part of her life and went through different types of businesses or occupations. She's obviously a relatively intelligent person who's able to make it wherever she goes, but she spent a lot of her time in Christian missionary work. That's interesting. And how she came into this area, I don't know. She does teach courses now, and she teaches it more from a fantasy basis, kind of a moving away from the military or even scientific dogma into more of something that is kind of mystical and magical. Kind of interesting for a I don't know if she's ex, but I doubt if she's ex, but apparently not involved. I don't know if there was not enough money in missionary work or whatever. But whatever happened there, she's been through different, per her statements on Jeffrey No Proof Allowed Mishlove. So the whole idea is that as we move into those areas, we need to understand, so who is she and what she's about? Now, you can take her classes, and she gives I've signed up for her pre-classes, and they send you this information. As I said, it's all kind of new agey, magic, almost occultish base in terms of talking about things while they military remote, yeah, it's all technique, like we lost all the other wars. Well, you just don't know how to fight. So just plain simple. So the whole idea is Lynn Buchanan, who's immersed in this, and as far as I'm concerned, has kind of a nasty little attitude, typical military guy. The reason why you don't want to go in the military is because of him. So the whole idea is he teaches courses as well, and that's what she did. She took his course, and I think he lives in New Mexico as well. And I ought to tell you something as well. It seems like a lot of them live in New Mexico, and of course they have their own little group of people there. And and why do they do this? Well, they're there to watch all the people that live there, particularly kind of people like Jeffrey Mishlove, who has all these people there who they're buddies with. Well, you're not going to spy on somebody, get the house across the street from them and put up telescopes and binoculars to watch going out and trace it. You know, this kind of movie nonsense. Yeah, hey, buddy, how you doing? Let's talk. Yeah, Jeffrey Mishlove. Let's all be lovey. I've made a fortune myself. So let's all get into that nonsense. That's the game you play. People have too many spy notions in their heads that things are conflicting in matters, and generally conflict doesn't make things easier when he can smile and sneak in like General Alexander does, stating that he's there to help you. So, yeah, more help like that we don't need. So the whole idea is that's how these things work. So she took her courses there, and she has a very typical, I would say, slavish female submissive attitude. As she has being a Christian in general, to be submissive to this male-dominated religion. She said she went to Lynn and sat at his feet there, curled up. Just every word he said was from God's mouth. Again, this is from her, not from me. You can check all this out on Mishlov's No Proof Allowed show. So the whole idea is that this is where she's coming from. Now, so who is Lynn Buchanan? Because it's important. And, I tell people this all the time. When you get into these areas of, particularly if you're buying products from people, is that you're taking their energy. Now, if you buy particularly a conscious machine, like a radionic machine, you buy it from manufacturers who are evil Satanists, like the big manufacturers out there are, particularly Orgone, or they're just bad people. And it seems like radionic people in general seem to be kind of evil. Or they've been, I think they've been taken over. Most of the good people are all dead now, if not all of them. There's really nobody producing serious radionic psychotronic equipment except IGOS. So the rest of them are just a bunch of junk, and they're really a bunch of Satanists, which is amusing. So the whole idea is that, so she's at his foot, every word she's hanging on. So who knows what, and you have to wonder people that have that kind of bizarre thing. But, that's the same thing they expect in any religious tradition. And I think it's important to understand where people come from. So if you come from a religious position, you're used to being a slave and buying into dogma that basically makes no sense. You have faith. Faith is an illusion. So, just like you don't want to believe something, you want to know it. Why would you possibly want to believe something? That's an illusion. I couldn't even believe. So faith is based on belief. Belief is based on illusion. Illusion is based on fantasy. Fantasy is based on evil. So it's just as simple as that. So when you get back into all that, everyone needs to understand that. So Lori Williams, of course, has been pushing her course, and of course she makes sure she gets a lot of free publicity from a great place to get on for all the people that are interested in remote viewing, which is the No Proof Allowed show. So the whole idea is that working with Lynn Buchanan, which I'm sure got her on the show because she's basically a nobody. She's written a couple of very small books, but she doesn't want to write a big book. Why would you want to sell a book for $30 giving all your secrets away? I tell this to authors all the time. It's stupid. So she certainly hasn't done that. So she is selling courses. So Lynn Buchanan has a course. I think the initial kind of goofball course starts at $300, just an intro. From there, it goes up to a few thousand for Lynn Buchanan, so you can get all that great military training, all them winners. All those people that did everything, stopped all the wars, knew where everybody was at. Yeah. Hey, they drew a submarine that was being built by the Russians. Wow! So the whole idea is that this is the kind of nonsense. Oh, yeah, secret, kid. We can't tell you what we really done because we don't know what we really done. But it's secret anyway. So this is the kind of nonsense you get. And she's teaching, of course, doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. And, of course, an author who wants to see the past. So all these people, so that she claims she teaches and so forth. So Lynn Buchanan goes in there, and she's basically she idolizes and virtually is Lynn Buchanan's slave, or at least idolizes. So like a lot of women who tend to do this, or people in general, but it's easier for women, is, she's calling him all the time, reporting back what's happening. I had a problem. I saw a red spot in the sky. What do you think, Lynn? Okay. I just came out of Walmart. I saw this package. What do you think, Ling? So it's all about Lynn and how she can talk with him 24 hours a day. And this is a way of constantly getting more information for one original prize. And it's really is abusive to teachers when students do this consistently. Because of the fact that, hey, look, that's not, you're here to come to special problems. I'm not here to figure out your day-to-day problems, but this is something that any teacher is fully aware of happens all the time. So she's that kind of person. And I've noticed this in a case with women in general. I went to a woman vet who used to do this, and every time I went in there, she was on the phone to a teaching hospital that had greater knowledge, asking them questions over and over again, because she couldn't make up her mind. She was a very poor and even dangerous vet. So this is what happened with all these people. So she's very much like that, and it doesn't give you any kind of credibility of what they're at. Now, she, of course, with all that, she amusingly states that she wants to distance herself from the military. So she doesn't get involved in anything military except learn from them, contact them every day, and pass them all the information she possibly can indirectly. The bottom line is Lynn Buchanan and all these other remote monkeys have never, ever retired, and neither do any of these parapsychologists. If you work with the government, you never retire, especially when you're in the intelligent gathering industry. They're always going to come to you because they're always in need of something, and you're the sucker. You get nothing.
Hey, here's the flag, Jeffrey. Give us some information.
The flag? What do you mean the flag? My mortgage isn't paid with your flag. So the whole idea is that these people use and abuse you. And I've known lots of people who claim to work with the government. They get nothing from it. When they're attacked by other groups or even hostile remote viewers from Soviet Union or other, you're on your own. They don't go back. Those people are gone or retired. They have nothing to do with you until they want to use you again. So the whole idea is that Lynn Buchanan, as all these people, are connected to these organizations until they die, and probably their family after that, because they're probably coming around stealing your papers or making sure your family doesn't give out information. This is how it works, and you get nothing for it. Of course, they bought these people indirectly. All the remote viewers have been bought. They allowed them to publish all these books, to start all these. You have to get permission to do that. Do you understand that? You just can't talk about military practices. I don't care what they are. They have entire groups of intelligence agencies that track ex-military people. So they know exactly what all these people are doing. So the whole idea is that he is a direct conduit. So what does she state on the Jeffrey No Proof Allowed Mishlove show? Well, she states that Lynn Buchanan came to her one day and said, gee, would you work? And she's doing this deliberately, by the way, and I'll get into that. I've got a job from you from the military, and they would like you to work on this particular case. And, of course, that's what Lynn Buchanan is there for. That's what all these other people are there for. Joseph McConaughey, the reason that he is now running the Monroe Institute is to find people, talent, and get the military on them. Offer them whatever. Now, I don't know if they offer, they generally, there's no money involved. They only take the trillions of dollars they've stolen from everything else, and from selling drugs, and from getting all the money they get from all the organized crime they work with. They don't give it to you. Are you kidding me?
It's for your country. We need to go kill ignorant dummies, like them Arabs, those Afghanis, who, by the way, don't have running water. They don't have toilets. They don't even have furniture. They sleep on the floor on a mat. They wear sandals and kind of like a little bed sheet. But the great Americans, the great Americans, with their
100,000. It costs $1 million to train every soldier to put them in the field, so they stayed. Of course, most of that goes into the pocket of the military people who build malls and golf courses. But that's another issue. And this is what happens with all these people. So they don't pay anybody, but the great military can't take these people out because they're just too tough for those little weasel boys, them special forces guys that are so tough. Because they can't get them up in the mountains. I can get them if they're in a park. Now, if they're in a parking lot and there's no cars,
we're going to get them terrorists.
So this is what we have to understand with all these. So she was offered this. Oh, no, Lynn, I don't want to do that. Oh, of course, 'cause she knows she's being labeled that, because after all, she works with this turd. Yet, oh, no, I don't do that. I don't get involved with the military. My ass, you don't. Now, if you don't work directly, let's show you how you work indirectly. Well, of course, it's regular day of the week for Lori Williams. And, of course, she's ran into another psychic fun time. Saw whatever student gave her great feedback. Gee, what do you do? I'm Lori Williams. What do you think I do? Dring, dring, dring. Hi, this is Lori, Lynn. Guess what? I've got a student who just saw the most amazing thing. Oh, is that right, Lori? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Her name is Mary Poppendale. Yeah, she just saw this thing, really.
Oh, is that right? What was her name again, Lori?
Yeah, Mary Poppendale. It's amazing, Lynn.
Okay, well, thanks for the information. Remember, call me back when you have similar or need any help, which I'm going to be in the rest of the day, so I assume you're going to call me 10 times.
What happened there? Well, she just passed on a very talented psychic person who can be easily traced. There's nothing that can't be found on it. You're in everywhere. They can look you up instantly, from whatever records, from cell phones to cables to IP addresses. You're there. There's no way to get your name out of this. They'll find you and find you easily. Not to mention they can go through tax records, driver's license, all the things they did. So, I mean, it's so easy to lose. So you don't have any price. So when people say, I don't want to give this out because you're going to find it, they all know it. And this information is given to organized crime who use all this as well because that's who they work with. So what happened there? She just exchanged it. Now, this goes on time and time again with anybody who communicates with this. And, of course, she's at the foot of him. Oh, Lynn, you're like a god. To think I used to follow Jesus when you were there, Lynn. So this is the kind of nonsense that particularly is known of this kind of female personality on top of it. So the submissive, dogma-ridden female personality, she was a nun. She was a nun, basically. I mean, that's her kind of mentality. Maybe she actually was a nun. She still got the nun haircut, but apparently has children. I guess that wasn't nunny enough. Like most people, when it goes below the waist, you're not too overly nunny or priesty or whatever. Ask Richard Gere. So the whole idea is that when you get into all these things, this is exactly what happens. So she has a course that goes into a few $1,000s, and of course she will talk with you. She will give you personal guidance. This is something relatively new. I started this many years ago to assist people because that's what you need. The ironic thing about this is that most people don't take advantage of that because they don't really have questions and they're kind of intimidated having the teacher to work with the teacher. So it's a difficult wall to break down. But she seems to do that. She's offering you these kind of consultations and to assist you. Now, I'm not sure. Generally, you need consultations later, not sooner, because when you start off, there isn't that much to learn. If you write a good course, there really should be not too many questions. So, that's where so she's doing that, and she charges several $1,000s for it. I'm not sure out of each level. It's 2, 3. If you take all of her courses, I'm not entirely sure, but it's several $1,000s. It could be up as much as 4 or 5. Now, is that a lot of money to learn something? Not really. That isn't even, $5,000 isn't even going to get you through, a semester of regular college, maybe? Maybe a year if you're going to a cheapy college. So the whole idea is that with a lot of courses in even schools like UCLA, I don't know what they're up to now, $400 or $500 for one course. So if you take 5 courses in a semester, You're up to $25,000, $3,000 just for the courses. That doesn't include books and everything else. So if I'm correct now, I'm just throwing out numbers. Last time I checked, it was around $300-$400. So who knows? But it's a general figure, not a specific. If you're one of those kind of nerdy idiots that,
Oh, well, Floyd, you misquoted it. It wasn't $1. It was $1.10. Yeah. You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
So the whole idea is that that kind of imbecilic thinking, put it in a wrapper and flush it. So the whole idea is that this kind of thing, now I don't think that's a lot of money. And I think one of the big problems in this world is that we don't pay enough money to people that really change our lives. People who teach you alternative practices, write alternative books, and take alternative seminars should be paid and paid well. Doctors make millions of dollars a year and live in giant mansions, and what they really can show for their effort is a graveyard full of dead people. Attorneys are the same way. You pay a fortune to. Well, how many cases have they lost? So these are all things that need to be looked at to find out what is their particular situation. So, paying money for a good course where you can talk to your instructor, and you should get involved. If you're really serious about something, you should get involved and have questions. You should be working through it and coming up with something. And I find this to be a problem with students because you don't get very many questions. And what really happens is, well, what's going on? Are you really doing anything? Well, you're really not. And are you applying this to life and what's happening? At the very least, you should have information coming back of things that are happening to you because now you're on a different path and things radically change in your life. All sorts of things start to happen if you're on the right path. But you have to be on the right path and you have to be active. So this is all very important. So needless to say, and which took a lot of words and time probably for too much, but the bottom line is you're going to spend a lot of money taking your course. Is it worth it? I don't know. So, do you learn from it? It's worth it. If you buy a pair of golf clubs, quality custom, you can spend thousands of dollars, $2,000-$3,000. If you join a country club, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars a year, even for a cheap one, a lot more for an expensive one. What is this all worth? Well, you have to decide whether that's worth. But that's what they do. You join. Gyms are relatively inexpensive, but there are yearly fees. So, this you take once and you own it. It's up to you what you do with it, just like a gym. So, does the gym help you? I don't know. So, use it, it does. So, I don't think pricing is a problem in most things I've seen. Some things are a joke in regular society, as it is. But people are spending $3,000 for a purse because it has 2 C's on it for Chanel. Or it's made by one of those other goofball designers. People are spending $300-$400 on shoes. And these are average shoes. You can easily drop $500 or $600 on a running shoe that has a special design on it. It goes on and on of where people spend a lot of money on. So should these areas of specialties, which she spent years refining and everything else. So the bottom line is I'm talking about in general, not in her course specifically, because I haven't taken it to give it a bigger opinion in terms of promoting it. And is it worth it or not? But in terms of the general understanding is the fact that it's not a lot of money to take a course that is good. So you just have to be careful of whether it's really good training and who are the people involved. She claims a lot. I don't know what she's done. I have a problem with everybody, and this is the problem with all of this area of study. If you're so powerful, why aren't you doing it for yourself? And, of course, that could be thrown on me as well. Now, we are doing that to a large degree now, and I've really done that all my life, coming from basically nothing, actually coming from highly suppressive family who wanted me to fail, a father who was a coward, who did nothing to support anybody, leaving people nothing with no resources, causing further problems where his psychoticness caused problems with the family in general, which carry on even to this day. But certainly I've done this all my life and I'm running an organization that is near impossible to keep going and has been full-time for over 30 years now, when these kind of organizations are rarely full-time until the internet revolution, where now people are able to have full-time businesses like this. But I was one of the first to do that, including one of the first to have a retail store featuring radionics, the first to put together all the grimoires into English, the first to have multi-courses of different traditions. So it's not the fact that I haven't done these things using my empowerments. The problem is when you tell people that they're going to be super beings and can do all this stuff and you're not, I guess she's making a lot of money, but if she's spending a lot, and of course teaching is easy. You're repeating the same thing over and over again. You're not producing a product. You're working with a few people. It's not really very time consuming. That's why everybody teaches. It's a very profitable thing to do. So, and that's important to know for all of your realities. So, as we get involved in all that stuff, we need to fully understand that reality. So everybody teaches because it's so. You write one course, you probably keep that for the rest of your life, and if something new comes up, it's a new course that you charge, that's additional, that you charge more for. So it's very, very easy to do, and it's very profitable because, as I said, it's just your time, which generally a lot of people have. So, but she's claiming all these things, trying to throw out things like lawyers, judges, and Indian chiefs are all taking her courses, and they're doing all so great. And he's been able to find this, and she works for corporations and everything else. So maybe this is a way, indirectly, that she's promoting those services as well. So we'd like to know what they do, but why work for questionable corporations? She claims she doesn't want to work for the military and everything else. Why do this, or even teach in general? If you have such abilities, why bother? Why get involved with the nonsense and problems of it? Some people like to teach, and it's a big ego thing. I'm God, I'm the teacher, listen to me. Oh, what did he say? So there's a big ego to teaching. Personally, I find it very tedious and boring. I don't like teaching. But the bottom line is that's easy. It's a big ego boost. But, where is her money? Where is this that she should be so wealthy from this and other things? So, all these things add up to the fact that... and that goes with all these remote viewers, who all seem to be doing pretty good. But, the bottom line is they're all living on government pensions as well. Joseph McGonigal, he retired from the military after 20 years with a big pension, as they all get pensions, and so are all these other military officers, Ed Dames and all of them. So they're double dippers. They're getting this good, excellent military pension. On top of that, what they're getting is all the bonuses that you get as an ex-military guy, from the cheap goods at the PX to medical care to so many other things that they can access as, quote, veterans. So they have all this, and then they double dip by getting another job. Because if you go into the military at 20, you get out at 40, well, that's pretty good. You're retired at 40, and then you are able to do another job. And they all do this. So they all do quite well. It seems like all these remote viewers writing books and everything and getting jobs off of remote viewing are making excellent to not superb money. Now, here's a person who figured out that I'm kind of smart. I can do the same thing, and there's no women in it. So I'll get the women and do it as a civilian, kinda, and so forth. So, and she seems to be a smart woman, certainly a business-oriented woman, who is used to making her own way in life. So the whole idea is that, unlike women who tend to be overly attractive, who get by on their looks, and basically somebody supports them their entire life, I'm not sure she had that opportunity, considering she's not in that area of attractiveness. But regardless of that, we all have to understand the fact that this is how they work. So she's another one. If you take courses from her, remember, anything you tell her is going to go straight to the ears of the intelligence community, whether that's directly or indirectly. And I'm not necessarily sure that she is independent either. Everybody says that, and that's her rap, because she wants to get the people away from the military people, saying, well, I'm not involved in that. Well, that's like saying, if you're worried about that, don't go to Lynn, come to me. So the whole idea, or any other military. So it's a good rap as well. Whether that's true or not, I tend not to believe it. Like they waved the Bible in her face to have her do most anything else, she's going to have the same Bible-wrapped flag, and she's going to talk to the intelligence community if they come to her. They'll give her a lying sob story like they always do, demonizing whoever they want to go after, so that she talks. So the bottom line is that's one of the dangers, and one thing I want to make sure everyone's fully aware of is that if you get involved in organizations and you think that this is just some sort of training you're going through, when you get involved in any psychic, any organization, period, that has any kind of attraction of people, you are in potential danger of the fact that those people are reporting, especially if you prove abilities. If you prove high level abilities to people and start telling them how wonderful you are, well, you're getting your name on a whole bunch of lists. Now, what happens from there is unknown. But the bottom line is that a lot of these people, even from New Age events and fairs, get on lists and are contacted. And eventually they end up in some military base working psychic stuff. And of course, they get you for free. Except they don't work for free. You got to remember, this isn't a volunteer army. This is a paid army. Otherwise, we have a mercenary army now. We no longer have an army or military that's there because they were drafted or for the good of the country. It's a mercenary army. They're there for money. They get paid. Just like, it really makes me vomit. The fact is, people, I want to thank our health workers, our police, and our fire. Did they donate their time? That's their job. And most of them are paid pretty damn well, especially police and fire, which are paid extremely well for the jobs they do. Now, nursing apparently is very underpaid and really sad. But point is that you're a nurse, you're getting paid for it. So I'm more concerned about the guy who turns on the generator in the electrical plant than I'm worried about a cop or a fireman or a nurse who have all high degrees of incompetency and corruption. So the bottom line is that we all have to take that in consideration and look at it for what it is. So anytime you do that and you go in these organizations, you're doing it. Now, if you go to, you think you're going to the Monroe Institute, this bastion of new technologies, well, the guy working there is Joseph McGonigal, the head of the military intelligence. He's watching you. I mean, it's unbelievable. So all of them are doing this. This is what you have to be careful of. And she's doing this either directly or indirectly by being in the pocket of Lynn Buchanan, probably one of the more military brats that I've seen from his interviews. Another guy claims to do so much, but what really has he done in the bigger picture? So, well, he probably has made a lot of personal money, so he claims, like all these people, but he's still doing his military job because he still has a pension he's worried about and pats on the back from his rest of his abusers and users that are seeking out other people in the psychic community. So all of this is very, very dangerous, and people need to stay away from these people. Now, if you do go to these things, there's certainly, of course, anytime you get on you get on their training list, that information is gotten, whether it's gotten, as I said, directly or indirectly. She's got to charge it somewhere. It goes through her system, her bank account. Nothing is sacred. Everything is an open book to those people who want to get at it, and that is the intelligence community, which there's over, I think now there's over 2,700 intelligence agencies in the United States. It's impossible to keep track of them, is what the latest study is. Just like it's... the IRS cannot be audited because their books are so bad. So these are the type of things. So you need to keep this in mind when you do it. And you shouldn't be, if you are talented, you need to be sneaky about it. You need to be cunning and not necessarily tell these people how good you are. Now, your good has no benefit to them. You're not there to help your teacher. The teacher's there to help you. So if you get great investments or figure something out or make $1 million, that's your business, not hers. You want to say, yeah, I made a few gains. I made a couple of $100 trying this. That's fine. But be smart and remember, that ear, that telephone, that internet is all bugged, all watched. So she doesn't have to do anything directly, even though I believe she is, just by the fact of talking to Lynn Buchanan every 5 seconds on the phone. So the whole idea is that you are being traced 24/7. All that information is there. She's being watched 24/7. This is what they do. It's not complicated. There's lots of money out there to do this with. You're under the illusion that there's no money for your medicine for your parents' medicine. There's no money for housing. There's certainly a lot of money for the government criminals by the tens of millions and all the other things there. So, and that money, of course, is filtered back in society. Those bugs that are put on the internet, on phones, and all your communication devices, on your cable, they're paying people to do that, and they're happy to make that few extra hundred or maybe even thousands that they're paid to do this. They are happy to take that money because they have no morality. And of course, is there any morality anymore? It's pretty much called money. That's the morality. And the fake people is amusing that there's a Christian police organization within the police department when it's an organization that is 100% corrupt. So this is the kind of disgusting filth that you get within these organizations that are just total frauds. Learn what the world is, learn the game of it, and then you can play it and beat it. Or you'll be destroyed by it if you're ignorant. Until next time.